We'd like to ask permission of the original peoples of this land to share a message about the UC Davis Ecology Garden and Student Farm by first taking a moment to acknowledge the land on which we are gathered. For thousands of years, this land has been the home of Wintun Patwin people, that is, Kachil Dihi Band of Wintun Indians of the Calusa Indian community, Quetzal Dihi Wintun Nation, and Yosho Dihi Wintun Nation. The Wintun Patwin people have remained committed to the stewardship of this land over many centuries. This has been cherished and protected as elders have instructed the young through generations. We are honored and grateful to be here today on their traditional lands. We also want to acknowledge the four elements to many cultures, and that is wind, fire, water, and land.
As a political refugee from Bogota, Colombia, and a professor in Chicano studies at UC Davis, I have experienced, witnessed, and taught about land reclamation by indigenous people in Latin America, conditions of campesinas and campesinos in the US, and the importance of ancestral foodways and our body, mind, and spirit. The UC Davis Garden and Farm is a space where students and I together remember and re-encounter plantitas, flowers, seeds, and soil. We study the struggle, social movements, and resilience of Chicana, Chicano, Latina communities. Chicana studies has historically focused on culture, and now we bridge culture and ecology as our colegas, Dr. Luz Calvo and Devon Peña and others have done.
My high school ag teacher actually came here to UC Davis, and that's where she opened the doors of what kind of potential jobs I could have in the agriculture industry. And that's why I decided to start my career here at UC Davis studying sustainable agriculture. Agriculture has always been around me, and I really fell in love with it. I loved learning about our environment, about food production, about our plants, and it opened an interest into being a soil conservationist with NRCS, which is a USDA agency. So I was offered a job as a soil conservationist, and I will be starting my career with them. I would tell little Yasel to always follow her heart, because even though as a first generation student you go through all these different obstacles and challenges, I was told not to go into agriculture because I was only going to be a farm worker, and I wanted to follow my heart. I would also say to never give up, because there's going to be times as a first generation student that there's going to be obstacles that you're going to have to overcome, and even though they're going to make you cry and they're going to make you want to give up, at the end of the day it's always a learning lesson, and you always grow from those lessons.
The UC Davis Student Farm has contributed in my education in many ways, like for example giving me like first-hand experience like how to manage certain crops that I'm very passionate about, like how to do certain stuff. Like let's say I want to learn how to grow raspberries, they give me this knowledge that I want to get about that specific crop. Also it teaches me a lot about soils and all the aspect of agriculture basically in a short period of time. Basically I just get to learn and get this knowledge from them, and then that I can implement once I graduate.
Fieldwork and farming are important jobs that provide us all with food, but there are many other careers out there that can allow you to stay connected with land and agriculture. You might become a professor like Professor Moreno or Professor Deep Sosa or Professor Cepeda. You might become a researcher that works to develop more environmentally friendly ways to farm or new farm technologies. You might work as an ag consultant or a farm manager, or maybe you'll work for a nonprofit that aims to better conditions for people working in the fields. You might become a lawyer or a doctor who helps support urban and rural communities, or maybe you'll become an artist that helps people see the world in a different way. These are all different kinds of careers that you can hold that allow you to stay connected with agriculture and land if that's what you decide you want to do.
The Student Farm at UC Davis is a space on campus where I was able to improve my connection to the land and my hope for the future of agriculture. I grew up in California's Central Valley, where there's a lot of agriculture, but very little representation in the voices that are heard. When I came to Davis, I didn't really know what career I wanted to pursue, but I did know that I wanted to help improve my parents' workplace. I'm a first-generation queer immigrant who graduated from Davis with a double major in Chicanx studies and sustainable agriculture food system. Although I was majoring in sustainable agriculture, my appreciation and involvement with the student farm didn't come into fruit until I took Profesora Natalia's Women's Social Movements in Chicano studies. It was the first to begin bridging together my Chai studies with my ag courses. For the first time, I felt welcome in an agricultural setting here at UC Davis. And in large part, it was because my community was physically there with me, and I felt safe. I felt like I could belong and see myself frequenting the space more often once I started seeing more of my cultural foods and plantitas be included in the space. The student farm exists because of student activism, and I saw this collaboration between Chai studies and the farm as reigniting that purpose. It became a space where students could challenge the way we practice agriculture and start to find ways to creatively foster community in these green spaces. I decided to pursue agriculture because that's where I come from, and that is where my roots are. I want to help improve ag so it can be a safer workplace, but also help prevent the negative effects on residents and surrounding communities. I want to prioritize agricultural workers because at the end of the day, they are the reason why this country is able to function. Without them, we're practically nothing. If I could offer any advice to my younger self, I'd say be patient with yourself and honor your expertise and lived experiences. You are, at the end of the day, the expert of your own narrative. I hope that you can find that passion that drives you. I'm thankful that I found advocacy as that fire for me. I seek to challenge that narrative that we are disposable humans and strive to highlight the strengths and the resiliency agricultural workers around the world hold. I'm currently a community outreach specialist with the Western Center for Ag Health and Safety here at UC Davis. I'm able to work with an amazing team and group of community-based orgs to develop educational materials and trainings to improve the health and safety of those in agriculture. Thank you to the staff and faculty at the Chai Studies Department for becoming my support system here at Davis, and to the Student Farm for being mindful of their impact and being willing to accept guidance in helping this space grow. I encourage you to become involved here on campus and be part of transforming UC Davis to better serve the larger California community and its changing demographics.